can't turn this on. There we go. I think we're live. We will see. I'm not really sure depending on how this goes. Sometimes I'm live immediately. Sometimes it takes a little bit to get going. But in the meantime, just start pulling stuff. But good morning to those of you that are watching this back. Today we are shipping out a ton of shoes. I think there is like 30, I think we had 20 on eBay and then 17 overall, plus a bundle of 2 on Mercari. So that makes it like 38-ish pairs. So while people are still coming in, basically I'll just explain stuff that I'm shipping. I'm going to ship this bundle of these these Mercari ones because nobody really cares about Mercari. But we're going to ship the bundle of Mercari, which was a pair of Metcons, like I've talked about in the past, not a model that I'm picking up anymore, and a pair of Twisted X sneakers, which I'm definitely not picking up anymore. I think the whole bundle sold for like $62. Happy to get it gone, but it's not going to be something I pick up. But good morning to all of you. Hopefully you guys are having a good morning. I am, like I said, I'm going to ship out like 35 to 37 pairs of shoes this morning. So hopefully this will be something that you guys are interested in and will enjoy. If not, no worries, but at least it's out there so people can see what I'm selling, which is great. But for the time being, I'm just shipping out Mercari orders. And Mercari's like shipping thing is very broken. Well, good. I'm glad you see me, Dora. Happy Monday. Nice having a shoe grabs last night. Okay, was whatnot there, Swanky. Yeah, they're not for me. They will not fit me at all. But I was excited that I got some of them. I've actually never bought any from all of his shows, which is surprising considering I buy shoes. But I just didn't sit there long enough to buy any. And I was like, you know what? He's not going to get a lot for a while, so I'll get some tonight. Next pair is a pair, I guess I need to show you. A pair of Coach. These are called the, what are these called? The Coach Low Lines. I don't know what happens to Coach, but they decided to wake up. So Coach men's shoes have typically not done well for me in the past. I don't know if this is just a newer model or what it is, but these sold for $52 on Mercari. So that is all 3 Mercari shipments packed up, which is great. I don't really know what's happening with Mercari and why the little shipment button isn't working, but it's working on my phone where I have to like screenshot it, which kind of sucks. But that is Mercari done. So Mercari's out the door. I did buy some purple label for myself on a previous show. Oh, nice. Yeah, none of those. I have a terrible size for like nice shoes like that. So I wear an 11.5, and so usually most of that stuff never fits me. And I think I bought like an 8.5, a 10.5, a 12. So I don't think any of those are going to be for me. I think they're going to be to buy them and then quickly resell them because they were expensive. Those Hugh Hefner ones were quite expensive as well. All right, so we have 6 on Depop, so we'll roll through that now. First pair is a pair of shoes that I'm not going to pick up anymore. They are the Yonex. This is like a pickleball shoe. These did well for a long time, and I don't know if it was just this colorway or what happened, but they sold for $25. So I'm definitely not picking those up again. But they sold for $25. I made $22.55 after Depop fees, which is fine. They're zeroed out on my inventory, so technically I'm making $22 on these, but this is definitely a brand that I'm not going to pick up again. But yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well. Like I said, I'm shipping out like 5 pairs of shoes. So that is from Saturday afternoon until today. Because I ship out on Saturday mornings. So I like to not have a crazy shipment from Friday to Sunday. So I have already shipped out my Friday and Saturday morning sales. This is all of my Saturday afternoon to yesterday sales. All right, next pair is a pair of Under Armour. These are the Sonic 5s. We talked about this. I listed a pair of these last time that I did a cleaning live. And I talked about these different colorway. These sold for $39. I think I made $32.86. This was like a promoted either $39 or $35. Regardless, this was a one that sat for a while. The colorway wasn't great. It's black and neon yellow. Probably wasn't the best colorway, but still made pretty good money on it. I did sell a pair of Bruno Magli men's dress shoes yesterday. Very nice, $120 sale. Smaller sizes do well for me in that brand. I have actually never picked up that brand before. I see it very often, but I've actually never picked that up. It would be interesting for me to do some research on it, because I don't typically pick that brand up unless you're getting it for cheap. Maybe then it's worth it, but I will have to do some research on it. All right, next pair is a pair of. It's going to be all the way down at the bottom of it. Of course it is. There it is. They're at the literal bottom. These are a pair of Merrill Ridge Pass. These were not listed on eBay anywhere, so they hadn't been in the product research thing, which dates back 3 years of information. These were not in anywhere. These were not listed anywhere, so I basically had to make a judgment call on what these model was. Google Lens wasn't necessarily helpful. I did a bunch of searching and stuff, and I came up with the Ridge Pass on these. These are a waterproof. I think that's what that says. Yeah, so these are waterproof, so they're a nice pair of shoes. They sold for $45 in, this was listed $82.48, and I just listed $83.29. So it took less than a week for these to sell, which is great. And they sold for $45, so I make like $28 on these, which is awesome. I'm tripling my money, which is great. So whenever somebody says tripling or doubling the money, I think it's very interesting, because I always think about, like, if you double your money, you pay 15, you sell it for 45, you make 30, you're technically getting double your money. But you could also think of it, so like this one, I paid 15 and then I made 28. So I'm basically tripling my money, even though I'm only making $30 in profit. It's a weird thing, but it's something that I have to rack my brain over sometimes. But like $32, $28 to $30 in profit, which is great. And these are getting a bag. Most of my Depop sales get a bag unless they are over a certain amount. And none of these shipments, or the 6 pairs that sold on Depop this week or this weekend, are going to get a box. Next pair is a pair of Nike Pegasus 38s. So these are an older model. I got these in a buyout that I did. So I'm like $10 into these, and they sold for $43, and I think I will receive $39.39. So made like $29 on these, which is great. But they didn't sell for as much as I had thought they were going to. But they still sold where I'm making like almost $30 in profit, which I am not mad about. But they are on the Pegasus 41s, so it would make sense that a 3 model behind I'm not going to make as much money on, which is okay. But yeah, that's the plan with these, is to just put these in a bag and ship them again. I think it's funny where people will be like, oh yeah, you missed the spot. I don't care. As long as it gets on the bag, I don't care if it goes in that little box or not. I don't think it's ever a problem. Next pair up is a pair of Thursday boots. So these are Thursday Boot Co. sneakers. I actually made a video about finding like 2 pairs of these and a pair of Fry boots. Fry boot sneak. I said I get this. They're not Fry boots. Fry sneakers. They're all leather sneakers. They're all the same size. This is a weird size. This is 12.5. These sold for $40 on Depop, and I make $34.67. Not a bad sale. It is the last sale of the 3. So again, not the worst, but also definitely not all that I would like to make on those. I think those probably could have sold for $50, but happy to just take the money and move them. And it's a 12.5, so it's a weird size. So maybe that's why they didn't sell for as much. All right. Cool. Next sale and final sale on Depop is a pair of LeBrons, and I don't know. I did grab them. These are a men's size 13. They look really big, but they're men's size 13. These are the LeBron 15 lows. The LeBron 15 highs have sold for me quicker than these did. These sat for a very long time. I think they sat for almost a year. But they sold for, it was like $48, which is great. So I make $43.13 out of these. I think I'm into them for like $13, so almost $30 is great. My average profit per unit is across March, February, and January has been about $27 per pair. So as long as I can stay in that anywhere below, like just a little bit below, sometimes I make a little bit less, sometimes I make a lot more. eBay will definitely help raise that average profit for this weekend for sure. All right, so Depop's done. So I'm going to go through my email and delete all of the Depop and Mercari since we did all of that. Let me ask you, I know that there's only a couple people in here, and it's probably mainly on YouTube, which is great. Can you guys hear me okay? And if you can't, I need to go in and fix that. So can you hear me okay? And I think you can see me, but I don't know what's going on. It was saying that I wasn't going live, and then now it's saying that I am live, but I'm not even sure if I am live or not. So just let me know in the comments. All right, next. So we've got how many pairs, or how many? We got 10 Poshmark orders to do, which is great. But that's going to mean that we're going to take off a little bit. Good morning, Lavicha. How are you? Oh, look at that. We sold an item on Depop just now. What did we just sell? Pair of Birkenstocks. Alrighty. All right, first pair we're going to ship out is this. Funny. This person, I had two of the exact same pair of shoes. So it was a pair of Merrill Embark lace and a pair of Merrill Embark lace. They're identical shoes. They're two different sizes though. This one's a women's size 9 and this one's a women's size 8.5, and the same person bought both of them. I'm hoping that I'm not going to get a return for this one. This one is this guy. But they bought the exact same pair of shoes in two different sizes. So I've never had that happen before. I'm not mad about it, but I'm hoping I don't get a return for one of them. They're both on Poshmark, so they shouldn't be returned because they don't do size doesn't fit. So yeah. All right. So that one's the first one out of the door. That one's sold, so basically I can show you them. This is not a model that I would pick up typically unless they're in perfect condition. These are both in perfect condition. They both sold for $49 plus shipping each, which is great. So like $50, turning that, I think I'm making like $25 a pair on each of them, which is great. $50 in profits, which is ideal. So this is the other one, same thing, sold for $49 plus shipping as well. Exact same pair, exact same buyer, exact same sold price. I would have probably given them a deal, but I didn't even get a chance to. They bought it, buy it now, straight up. They didn't send me an offer or anything, but that's okay with me. Thank you guys for confirming that y'all can hear me. I appreciate it. Last time we had audio issues where it sounded like it was coming out of my AirPods. So as long as you guys can hear me fine, that's good with me. But these two are out the door, which is great. What I did not do was I did not grab boxes, and I'm going to need it here in a second. I need 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. So in a second, I'm going to need boxes, but for now, we will just list what we got. The next one is a pair of Reeboks. Reebok is not a brand that I typically pick up very often, but when I find them in this good a condition, I don't know if you can see that through the thing. These are in like, I'm not gonna say like new, but they've probably been worn a handful of times. And these sold for $40 plus shipping. I took an offer on these 8239, so these were listed for less than a week ish. They sold for $40. I paid $15 on them, so I made like $17 in profit. It is on the low end of the very low end of what I would take for profit per unit. However, they were listed for like a week, so I don't mind taking a little bit less than profit, knowing the fact that they're selling and I'm making basically and doubling my money up on stuff like that. But that is my low. So if somebody buys 2 pairs, is there any way for you combine shipping for them after they purchase if they did it from different purchases? You can't do it on Poshmark, I don't think. You can do it if they bundle it and then they purchase it. But at eBay, you can do it once they've purchased, and then you can bulk combine them. But on Poshmark, you can't, which I think is a flaw of Poshmark's, because you should be able to, if somebody purchases something and then they purchase it again, you should be able to combine it on the back end. But it's sent them two separate tracking things. So I'm not complaining about it, but I know that could be annoying for sure. All right. Next up is a pair of Cole Haans. This is a weird colorway, and I understand why this took a little bit longer to sell. I don't know if it shows up how orange, reddish that is on the bottom, and then they're brown suede. It is a wild color. The reason why I picked them up is because it's a wild color. I knew somebody was going to want them because of how wild they were. These sold for $39. Again, I'm making like $17 on these, which is fine. These took a lot longer to sell, but they were in really clean condition, so my time into them was minimal. I think they were listed for like, so they were like, what was the number on them? 7174. So they were probably listed for like, I list 100 and, how do I do this? I list 600 plus, so like 600 on an average month. I probably list around 600 items. So it probably was like 3 months ago. So when I listed these, making like $17 on them, which is fine. Like I said, it's not something that I'm trying to do every single time, but not bad when they're that easy to ship. Next one is pair of Ultras. This is a really nice model. These are the Torn 8s. They had a little mark here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Right there, they had a mark on that sole that I couldn't get out. So I listed them for a little bit lower just because they were in really good shape, but had that little scuff that I couldn't get out, and they sold really quickly. These are an 8.5 wide. These sold for $55. So after Poshmark fees, I made $44, and I'm making like $29 on these, which is great. But that's a good model to look out for. The Torn 8s, I think, just came out at the beginning of last year, and they have sold for me well. I've sold 2 or 3 of them in the last 3 months or so. Most of them in men's, but that was a women's pair. All right. I'm going to have to step out just for a second to get the boxes. I say step out. It's right behind you guys. But I need 1, 2, 3. I probably need to grab like 10 boxes would be my guess. Maybe more. We'll see. I'm just going to grab a handful. I think I need that many, but we'll grab that. So we'll get boxes for FedEx that are going with eBay, and then boxes that for boots and all of those things. I don't think we're going to need any actual boot boxes. I think it's going to be more of like the nicer shoe boxes that you can get from Poshmark Ground Advantage. All right. First up, this is going to be loud. All right. First up is a pair of Retail Arbitrage track and field sneakers. So I'm not even going to really show it. They're a pair of like Zoom dimensionals. So basically they're for discus and for other random sports, but they're retail. They sold for $59. I paid less than that. Hi, Amy. How are you? Thank you for coming and hanging out. You did such a good job last night on Wayne's thing. I'm surprised he doesn't pay you at this point. He should pay you. Let's be very clear. He should pay you. But that is not my department. But these were new, so I'm going to put them in a box, even though they sold for under that $69 threshold that I like to have. They sold. So I'm going to give them a box just out of the kindness of my heart, and it also doesn't cost me anything other than the tape. All right, next pair is a pair. I've got 4 boot sales, which is kind of wild. I got 2 women's boots and 2 men's boots. Women's boots is a rarity for me to pick up. And I really don't want to jinx this, but I'm going to say it because I have to because I'm on live. I have sold this pair of boots. Both of these boots, actually. I have sold both of these boots 3 times, and they have been returned 3 times each. So I'm hoping that because they both sold on Poshmark, this will be their final resting place. And I don't ever have to see them again. So I really don't even want to tell you because this is not something that I would pick up again. Maybe the men's boots. So these are called Sedici. So Sedici. These are a pair of women's boots. They sold, and then they got sent back on eBay, and then they sold, and then they got sent back on eBay. And I don't think that they're going to fit in here, which is going to require me to get a different box, which is fine. But these sold for $30 because I wanted them gone, and I can't stand looking at them. Oh, it's a good thing I had a box pre-made just in case. But yeah, this is not a brand that I will pick up in women's again. They're motorcycle boots. Maybe that's the reason why. But this is not one that I would pick up again. Amy, yeah, you do great, by the way. You do great, by the way, for doing all of that stuff for Wayne. I'm glad you have fun doing it. I'm surprised how many women's boots I sell during the winter or this warmer months. I guess for those outdoor concerts. Yeah, probably for the outdoor concerts or a lot of people like to buy in advance. Same sort of thing with selling. With shoes, I know that a lot of people sell clothing like in seasons and stuff like that. Shoes, you don't really have to do that. I try not to sell sandals in the winter. That's the only thing I don't do. I also try not to sell sandals in general. But in general, I find that most things will sell. It just depends on the thing. Amy's modeling and heckling combo is top notch. I agree. I don't know how she does it. I bought like 5 pairs of shoes last night on Wayne's thing, and I spent a lot of money just on 5 pairs of shoes. So I can't imagine all those people that are buying a lot more than that, how much it cost them. But to be fair, I got most of the stuff that was nice, so I'm not too mad about it. All right. These are gone. $30, and they get a big old massive box. Terrible. Not a brand I'm picking up again in women's. For sure. Hopefully, these boots fit in this one. Otherwise, these are a pair of J. Crew. These are a women's size 12. I originally thought these were a men's size 12. They're not. They're a women's size 12. They do fit in here. Fantastic. These have been sold and then returned and sold and returned and sold, and they hopefully will not get returned ever again since they sold on Poshmark. But these actually sold for pretty good money. They sold for $50. But women's 12 is a very hard sale. Men's 12 is not. But a women's 12, that's a hard sale. But I know a bunch of you, you'll make double your money easy. I hope so. Especially with those Hugh Hefner ones. I hope I can sell those quick. That's something that I need to get into a little bit more, is actually spending up a lot. So I am known around here and around the Facebook worlds and a lot of the reselling community for being one of the highest spenders for shoes. Not in terms of like the crazy pairs, but I'm willing to pay up a lot to then sell a lot. So I pay up for boots, I pay up for shoes and stuff like that. But for some reason, Whatnot has that little trigger on me where I don't really pay a lot for Whatnot stuff. Typically, I don't even source on Whatnot very often. And that is a mistake of mine, a flaw of mine, that I need to get over. But it's not something that I do very often. So when I do it, I get a little hesitant. But you are right. I should make... These are both going to require boot boxes. Dang it. All right. 2 seconds. I need to go grab more boxes. Oh, also, I bought new containers at Costco. This is not... Well, I mean, I guess I'll shout out Costco because I don't think anything's wrong with shouting out Costco. But these are only $8. And at Lowe's, they're $22. So... I'm a big fan of those. They really help my business because shoes are I have so many shoes that have to go in those every day that it is nice to have a plan for that sort of thing. So I spent like $40 and I got like 5 boxes, which is great because those ones, if I had bought them off of Lowe's or Walmart or something like that, they would have cost me like double to triple that. So shout out Costco. All right, last 2 on Poshmark, and then we got 20 to do on eBay. So hopefully you guys are not bored of me yet. Had a big sales weekend. I'd say big. It was average, but it was good all around, I guess. All right, first up is a pair of, do I think that these could go in a box? Probably. Do I want to put these in a box? No. These are a pair of Keen. These are the utility Lansing. I actually I cleaned these on live on Friday. I was excited about these. They were in really great shape. They are like not barely, I mean, they've probably been worn a couple of times, but they sold for really good money. They sold for $60 plus shipping, which I am always happy about. So I make $48 after fees, and I paid $15. So what's that? 48, 15, $33 in profit. Take that all day. They're getting a big box today, which is fine. So for all the people that comment on my videos, but what did you actually make today? You didn't take into effect the gas and time and all that stuff? Okay, here's my 7 cents in tape and $1 in my box. So I made $35, whatever. I hate when people are like that. You don't track your gas when you go to your full-time job and then you get a paycheck. You don't take that out of it when you say your profit of your paycheck for the day. It's just because I'm selling stuff on eBay. That's why. That's why you're mad about it. Alrighty. Carvix. Poshmark is there. We'll do one last big box, and this is a cool little boot sale as well. So those are Keens. The next one is a pair of Harley Davidsons. I started picking up more and more of these boots when I can find them. I left them for a while just because they weren't selling for as well. And certain models don't sell great. However, these sold for, I think these sold for $70. So those Keen boots sold for $60. Yeah, these sold for $70. So I make $56 and I paid $15 for these. So I'm making like, what's that? $41 on these, which is amazing. I will take that all day long. And I have these random packing papers from random shipments that I like saving. But these are the Harley Davidson boots. These are called, what are these? These are called the brake buckle, which I guess makes sense. But if you see people wearing Harleys or driving Harleys, these are in really good shape, and these sold for $70. I'll load this packing paper in there, put the box down. and these are good to go. Where do you buy your boxes? Those are really nice. Yeah, these are really nice. I get them from Zoro. So that's Zoro, or I link some on Amazon, which I think are the same brand as these. They're a little bit more expensive, so if you have Amazon credits or anything, they are on Amazon. I think I did link them to on the Amazon storefront, but I don't get an affiliate hit with Zoro, which is fine. But yeah, these are from Zoro, and I really like them, and they work really great. Good morning, Sarah. People can be mean. I have this brain say, don't steal my joy. People have issues. Ain't my problem. I have my own problems to deal with. Just ranting here against the haters of the world. Yeah, oh yeah. I don't let it get to me. I think it's funny when people take the time out of their day to be upset about how much money I'm making. All right. That was Poshmark, Depop, a Mercari, and I feel wiped already. Just kidding. I'm fine. But we got all of eBay to do. We got 20 shipments on eBay. So I'm going to get started. So if you guys have questions just like that, I love answering it while we do it. But I'm going to get a hold of eBay's app, and then we're going to roll through the punches of these. I've already sold 2 things this morning, which is great. But those are not getting shipped out this morning. All right, first pair is a pair of Ultra Lone Peaks. These are the mid hiking boots. I'll show you in a second. Paid up for these, but I sold them in 3 days. I don't really remember how much. I can tell you. I can use Nifty on this side and tell you how much exactly I made on these. Also, so there's a couple people in here, and I'm sure there's a lot of people. Do you prefer if I just say how much they sold for, or do you want to know how much money I made on them profit? Because I'm happy to say that. I want to know what you guys want, because I'll stop saying profit and stuff like that if you guys just care what it sold for. But I like numbers, so I break it down. But if you don't want me to say numbers, that's totally fine, and I'll just say what they sold for. But for this pair specifically, they sold for $84, and I paid a lot for these. I paid $47.27. And so I only made like $17 on these, but they sold really quickly, and I don't care. They sold really fast. I paid out for them. I knew they were going to sell fast. So my average sale price on that is high, but my profit's not as great. But technically, right, if we want to get really dive deep into this, I made $17 on these, but I'm still making like $61 on these, really, because I'm getting all the money back that I spent. If you really want to go that way, technically I made like $60 on these. I didn't really, but I gained $60 back instead of 41 or however. I want to know how much you made. Okay, great. I'll keep doing it. I don't know if everybody else does it, but I enjoy saying it just so that way you can see the profit and all that stuff. I'll do my best to remember what I paid for all of these things. I don't have it, so a lot of people have their cost of goods in their SKU. I have it on Nifty or on my spreadsheet, so I like to know the profit too. It's nice to know what you paid versus what you got. Okay, I would like to know how much you pay so I can have an idea for myself. Great. Okay, great. Awesome. I will keep doing that then. All right, this was the first pair. So these are going to Washington, so I will not see these for weeks. Hopefully they don't get returned, but I ain't going to see them for a while. All right, next pair is eBay actually sent me an authenticity guarantee box, which never happens, but it was a return, and usually I just get a normal brown box. However, see, you can see that there's a packing slip and everything in there. I don't care about that. What I care about is this next shipment. So the cool thing is those are already in an authenticity guarantee box, and these are going off this authenticity guarantee. Great. So these are the Nike Air Max 2013s. These are not from 2013. I think this was like a it's like a retro, like how Jordans do it, but they were a re-release. That's the word. These were pre-owned, and these sold for $95. I also think I paid up for these as well. Did I, or did I get these for cheap? Oh, I got these for cheap. Nice. Did I or not? What's happening? No, I paid up for these. These sold for $95, and they sold for $95. I paid 43 for these, and they sold for my profit was 31. That pair in particular, I have sold this colorway a lot. That's like the midnight navy colorway. I would just be very careful with the sizes. Lots of these Air Maxes are coming out again in the last year or so, and so they're showing up retail. So you just have to be careful with some of that. Like I paid up for those, but I knew that those would sell for good money. So this is just a be careful. Don't follow everything that I do, but I did pay up for stuff. What's up, Nexus? How are you? You teach me how to resell these. You're welcome to sit here and watch. This is the stuff that I do every day. But I appreciate you being here. Hello. How are you? Caught you live. Been following you since you were in college. I appreciate you for being here always. Yeah, I try and do lives at different times. Today was a little bit later because Brad just was talking for an hour and I couldn't get him off the thing. I'm kidding. No, but I was waiting for Brad because I like honoring my friends and not going live at the same time as them. So that way they get to finish their live and then I can kind of just follow up right behind them. All right. Next pair is a pair of Asics. I think I pulled these already. Yep. These are the Asics Matte Control 3s. I did really well on wrestling shoes for about 6 months over the summer, which makes sense because people are buying it for the new school year. These took a very long time to sell, which I was kind of surprised about. That's 4806. I'm now on 8360 or something like that. So like probably a year. But they sold for $41.90. And they're going to South Dakota. So that marks off my South Dakota like state sticker thing for the year because I don't think I've sold one. Can you explain the authenticity guarantee process? I'm a new buyer. Thanks. Yep. So eBay, whenever you purchase a pair of shoes over $75 on eBay in specific brands, they ship it to, instead of it being shipped to you directly, so I sell it, it then doesn't go to the buyer directly. It then goes to a hub where eBay authenticates the item, makes sure that it's real, nothing's changed with the listing and everything. And then once it ships from there, as long as everything's good, then they ship it to the buyer. That's all. It's just a middleman. Worked out perfect that you announced in Source Live that I followed you here over here this morning. Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Audrey. So this sold for $41. I think I made, people were saying they wanted a breakdown of what I paid and everything. I made $19 on those. So I paid $13 and profited $19 off of a $41 sale, but it took a year to sell. So technically it's a long time, but I'm not mad about it. This is a good model. These are the Keen Covens. So they're a waterproof, like hiking trail boot. These are the low tops. These sold for $50 plus shipping. And I can actually tell you exactly how I made because of Nifty. So Nifty says that I made $23.50 on these, which is great. These didn't take very long to sell / list / all of that stuff. So $23 on a $50 sale. I'm not mad about. I think I paid $15.10. So those sold quickly. Good morning, Gladys. How are you? It's good to see you on live. Good to see you. Good to see you. I've had a rotation of people come in and out. It's like I see all of the people that I normally get to see, which is great. And some new people, which is awesome. All right. The trash is overflowing, guys. We need a new trash liner. All right. Next pair is a pair of Pumas. So, funny story about these. Somehow, so these are listed 4044. So when I was doing this whole new setup, I was looking through the pairs and I looked these up and I was like, how have these not sold yet? Because these these are the Puma Rihanna cleated creepers. So they're like super platform and these sell really well usually for me. And I was like, why have they not sold yet? I looked online and every single one of the pictures doesn't exist. I was like, what happened? And none of the pictures were the actual shoe. It had been replaced by a different picture of a shoe from something else. I guess that the pictures failed, so they pulled another image, and obviously it wasn't these. So I then went back and took photos, and they sold after, I think I listed them a month ago, repriced them, redid everything on them, and they sold for $60. So they were listed for over a year, but they sold for $60. I knew they would, purely because this is a good model and it's a cool colorway. These I paid $15 for them. I made $29.18 on these. I hate this polymailer. I ran out of polymailers that week, and I had some extra lying around from when I had done Amazon in the past, and they're the most crinkly. Ugh, just not a nice noise. What size polybags do you use your shoes in, and what is the place you get your boxes from? Again, good question. So eBay, I use the eBay polybag, or I use the Ground Advantage free ones. Technically, I could use the Ground Advantage free ones for all of these, because these are all going Ground Advantage. I like it just so that way when I'm shipping items out, people know that they're coming from eBay. It's a little touch because I don't put like a thank you note or anything in there, but it's kind of cool because it's a touch of like, oh yeah, like this is from eBay, whatever, thank you. So and then the boxes, I get them from Zoro, so that's ZORO.com. I'll leave them I'll put it in the chat. So that's Zoro.com. That's where I get my boxes from. I use a 1612 by 6 box and what are these boxes? 14 8 by 6 box. Those are the two ones that I get. Next pair is a pair of Hoka Bondi 6s. So this is 2 models old. However, these sold for $56. So these sold for sometimes they sell for more than what I list the other ones for. So $56. I make $27.33 in profit out of these, and I paid $15. What service do you use? Well, good morning, Chavez. What service do you use to authenticate Versace or Gucci shoes? So I use the Legit app or Check. So either one of those. I think if you want to support me, let me check. I have Check on my phone. Check gives me a referral link. So I think if I send you the referral link, you sign up, you get a free credit, and I get a free credit. So let's see. I'll send the referral code if anybody's interested in it. Copy this, paste this. I want to make sure that it's not sending anything weird. There we go. So if you sign up with Check with that referral code, Jabez, I just put it in the YouTube and the Facebook chat. That's what both apps I use to authenticate either one of those. These sold, yeah, I already said this, but these are the Hokas. All right, got distracted. We're back. You were right. I pay up for more shoes than clothes, except for like Hey Dudes, Toms. I bite the bins. Yeah, to be honest, I stopped picking up Hey Dudes when I saw them being listed on TikTok Shop. So yeah, I only pick up them if I see them at the thrift store for like they're brand new. Then I'll pick them up. But otherwise, I stop picking them up completely. And I don't pick up Toms in general. But like you said, if you're getting from the bins, you're getting them for like $1, which makes sense. What size are the clear poly bags? These are 12 by 15. Lori, I have those links in the link tree. So my link tree, I've got an Amazon affiliate source of all of those. So the 12 by 15 and the 15 by 18s that I use, they're all linked in there. So if you want to support me, you can go through the Amazon link, and I have all of them linked there. Sorry, I'm so sorry. All right, these are I will take these out of the bag. These are the Pegasus 41s. So these are one of the newer pairs. I could not get the discoloration out of the midsole, so I listed them for $59. They sold on a best offer for $50, and we took it. So these are going to Bountiful, Utah. Bountiful, Utah. That's an interesting name. It's like Paris, Texas. But you guys want to know now how much I made per one. So I paid $15 for these, and I made $23.57 on these, which is great. It's another $22 to $24 profit. A lot of this stuff is just bread and butter sales for me, which is great. This, however, is not, and this is not going to get a bug. This was a retail arbitrage pickup slash find. So with that being said, you're not going to be able to find these, but I will say, just because transparencies. This is a pair of Wilson tennis shoes. They're brand new with the tags, and they sold for $75. Next pair is a pair of what is the next pair? Pair of UFOs. This has been listed for over 2 years, so they were gone. This is another brand like Hey Dudes that I'm not picking up anymore, or trying not to pick up anymore unless they're brand new. These sold for $25. I paid $0, so whatever the profit is on that is going to be the profit. Basically, I zero out my inventory when it's over a year old, so these are technically free. I use bread bags for shoes. I think they're cheaper. Interesting. I like to have the bags that have the choking label on them just for safety and sanity. They might be cheaper, but safety and sanity is the reason why I have those clear bags on them, because I don't want to get in trouble for something like that. Random, but I have some vintage alligator skin boots to sell. Are there regulations on exotic skins for eBay? I don't sell a ton of boots. I've never had an issue with selling exotic boots on eBay. As long as it's alligator skin, it should be completely fine. I sell alligator boots regularly, so I don't think you have an issue with that. How did you decide it's okay to ship a new polybag? Worry about shoes getting messed up. Great question. I ship anything under $69 total. So the buy, how do I say this? Not the total price, what they purchased it for. If it's anything under $69, they get a bag. If it's anything over $69, they get a box. If they're dress shoes, it doesn't matter. They're getting a box anyways. That's how I do it. But that is after, I've already sold 1,500 pairs of shoes this year. So that is just 1,500 pairs of shoes of just knowing what sells, what I feel has been fine, none of return issues, stuff like that. That's just, and then I sold like 6,000 pairs of shoes last year. So I started doing the bag method in January last year. Haven't had an issue with it. But again, you just have to know which ones you can and you cannot put in a bag. Hilariously, this is a terrible time to sell these shoes. These are Tiger Woods, Nike Tiger Woods golf shoes. We all know what happened to him on Friday. So I'm kind of glad that these are just sold and then gone. But they were not in great shape. I got them in a buyout. I paid $10 for them. Let's see. I can tell you exactly how much I paid for them. I paid $14.03. Just kidding. So they were $17 in profit. Fine. I don't want them anyways. So I want them gone from my system. You guys are going to laugh. Okay. I know you guys are all here because I sell shoes and it's something different and it's not clothes, but I sold a clothing item. Okay. We're all not going to freak out. Let's just not all freak out. Okay. This next item is a piece of clothing. I'm just prefacing that before the whole world freaks out that Ethan sold clothing. I don't even know if this is a good piece of clothing. This is a Arctic Cat Team Arctic jersey. I think that it's like a snowboarding deal or like some sort of mobile action. I have no idea what. It is a very cool shirt. It's like a jersey. I don't know how I can't really zoom in on these. Can I? Oh yeah, there we go. That's what it looked like. And I literally took a picture right there on the floor because I don't have a clothing setup. This was on a new rack. I thought it looked cool. I looked it up. Some of this stuff does really well. This sold. I paid, how much did I pay for these? I can tell you. I paid $7.99 for these. So it was just, well, I say these. It's just this one. I paid $7.99, and it sold for $40. So guys, I am now officially a clothing reseller. Just kidding. But if I do see stuff on like new racks and stuff like that that I've watched Brad or Wayne or whoever say like, oh, like look for this brand, I will look for it. I'm not gonna go digging for Polo Ralph Lauren because I'm not gonna go I don't want to do all of that work for all of that. So I'm very specific. Basically, if it sells for over $35 and I can get it for less than $8, I'm fine with it. But I'm not picking up a $5 item to sell it for $25. I'm not doing that. But before everybody freaks out, this is the only clothing item of the day. But it did sell. All right, back to normal. Oh, that made me feel weird. I don't know if I can do that anymore. I showed a clothing item. Ugh, yuck. Ew. This is another retail pickup. These are a pair of cleats. I paid $32 and they sold for $76. I think I made like $25 in profit on these. It's not something that I'm going to show, just not the fact that I don't want you to see it. It's just that it doesn't matter. You aren't going to be able to find it anyway, so I want to show you guys stuff that you can find potentially. We will put that there. All right, next pair is a pair. Oh, this is a good model to look out for. Good brand to look out for. These, this is one of my favorite brands of golf shoes to pick up. Is called Squares. So it's S, and it's not spelled anywhere what it's supposed to spell like. It's SQAIRZ. The golf shoes, let me be very clear, they used to sell for over $100. Used to. They don't anymore. But these are pickleball shoes, which is pretty cool. And these took a little bit longer to sell than I thought they would. So they sold for $45. Not bad, but I thought that they were going to sell closer to $60. But I took an offer at $45 to get them gone. The SKU number is like 7018. I think I will go look on Nifty for you guys again. Nifty says that I paid $15.23, so I made $18 on them. Not great, but yeah. Congrats, new clothing seller alert. Yep. That's me, a clothing seller apparently. Ew, yuck. Ugh. I don't like it. Never again. All right, next pair is a pair. This is actually a smaller size, but I knew they would sell. This is the Anthony Edwards collaboration with Adidas. This is called the Ascent Pack. The bigger sizes in these sell for over $100. This is a men's size 7.5. So it's a smaller size, probably for a kid, which is great. But they sold for $50. So happy to have that sale. I think I listed them at $60. What did they sell for? Or what was my profit on them? I made $23.88 on them. I paid $14.56. These are going all the way to California. All right. Next one up is a FedEx shipment, which means they are going authenticity guarantee. And this is a model that I actually have never seen before. It's a cool Nike model. These are the Nike React X Infinity Run 4s. So I have seen that model before, but I have never seen the Gore-Tex model of these shoes. So this is a pretty cool colorway, and it's sold for, this is them, sorry. This is them. They sold for $60, I think. I listed them at $79. They sold for $60. Oh, I can't put them in here. I'm glad I stopped this. That would have been annoying. They have to go in a FedEx box. That is really annoying. Once it gets on you, it doesn't come off. Don't say that, Dora. It comes off. I'm not a clothing reseller. It's like Beetlejuice. You just say it 3 times. Let's try this again. These have to go in here. Yeah. These it's a cool thing. You can't miss it. It says Gore-Tex on the side. It sold for $60. I made, how much did I make on these? $30.89. I paid $15 for these. So happy about that. And authenticity will take care of it. Audra. So funny that you think clothes are yuck. I'd rather wash clothes than clean shoes. I have to talk myself into getting shoes. I can't just throw in the wash. Do you clean like once a week? So the stuff that goes in the wash, yes. So I actually have a pile. I don't know if you can see this or not. We'll see. I have a pile right here. So all of this box here, you can see all of those shoes over there. Those are all for, I don't know if you can see that or not. All of those all the way over there, they're for my cleaning setup. But right here, these are the ones just in this box here is that's going in the wash. So I do that once a week. Basically once a reset, if that makes sense. So once I go out and source again, this will be a different thing. But I got to put all those through the wash. All right. Make sure that that's the right person. And those are going to FedEx. Wow, I've been live for like an hour, and I feel like I'm still shipping a ton, but I think I only got like 4 or 5 more to go. We'll see. Next pair is a pair of Solomons. Yeah, I think clothing is yuck because I don't like taking measurements, and I've had 4 people this weekend ask me for measurements, and I told them no. Partially because I forgot to take measurements initially, and then now they're in a bag. So I said, you can buy it, and if they don't fit, you can return it, and then they didn't buy it. These are a pair of Solomons. These are the Artemis, I don't know. These sold for $53.10, which is a nifty offer, which I am very happy about. And they are going to Texas. And I think I paid, these are a recent pickup. Yeah, so I paid $15. I made $25.16 on these, which is great. Do you pay for the authentication through eBay? No, the buyer pays for it. So instead of shipping being like $8 or $9, it's like $15. So they pay for it shipping to the authentication program, and then they also pay for it to ship to them. I don't pay for it. No. How do you put shoes through the wash? I can never get it to looking good. Great question. I have made a video about it a very long time ago. I don't even know if it's posted anymore. But I take Shout Action Spray, Olivia. I think that's not your name at all. I'm so sorry. Oha. And I put it through, I use Shout Action Spray, which I have a link to it in the Amazon storefront. And I spray it where I take the insoles out, so I can show you kind of what I would do. So basically on this pair of shoes, you can see that it looks okay to here, and then they're kind of stained on that toe box. So originally, I take out all of the insoles. I leave the laces in. I know a lot of people would take the laces out. I think it's too much of a hassle. I just tie the laces up. And then with the spray bottle, this is not what I would use, but with the spray bottle, I spray on the where the stains and stuff are. And then I put all of those in. I put a max of like 6 to 7 to 8 pairs in the wash at the same time. And then I put towels in, and I just spray pretty heavily on that Shout Action Spray where the issues are. Sometimes you can't get stains out. It's just kind of personal knowledge of what I can and can't get out. Just they're doing it a lot. Do people ask for measurements on shoes? Yes, and I tell them no. I don't do that crap. Unless it's a pair, I do have a rule for that. Unless it's a pair of shoes that are over $300, I'll do measurements on it. But any other thing, no. I'd rather take a return. I'm like, just buy it. Figure it out. All right, next pair is another one of a retail arbitrage. I've been saying that a lot this live. I think I sold like 4 things that were retail, which is fine. Sometimes you got to take advantage. I don't just thrift. This is a pair of track cleats. Again, I won't even show them. But they sold for $79. These would not be a pair of track cleats that I would suggest, nor will you see these in the thrift. These are one of those ones. These are the elite track shoes, so they will never get to. People throw these away. They don't use them, so they look like this, but they don't end up at the thrift store. Those will get used until they can't be used anymore, and then they will end up in the trash. But I sold them for $79, which means they are going through the authentication program, which is fine. But that's why they get a different box. All right. We have 3 pairs, and I forgot a pair somewhere. I gotta go find it. 6926. Let's see how quickly I can find this. That's how easy it was. Forgot to grab these. These are the Brooks Catamounts, a model that I have stopped picking up. This is an older model. Again, 6926 is an older model for me. It's been about 3.5 to 4 to 5 months, depending on how long these were listed ago. They sold for $40, so I'm probably only making 17 to 18 bucks, depending on how much I paid for these. I will tell you, because that is only fair. I made $16. Paid 13, made 16. So it's not bad. Definitely double up, but not one that I'm going to go pick up again. It's an older model from 2020. So, all right, next pair. This is the only one. I feel like this is the only one that's gotten a box that actually deserves a box today. Oh, I got 2 more. I got one and then another one after this. But this is the Nike Air Force Max Charles Barkley, as you can see there. Charles Barkley Hyperfuse Men's 10.5 is sold for full price of $69. Nice. Plus shipping. I feel like I don't make those types of jokes very often, so I do apologize. Wayne and Brad rub off on me sometimes here and there. You can only make jokes, right? So these are getting a box because they are at that $69 threshold. Then we got one left. I brought too many boxes out, which is okay. This is the last pair. And it is requiring a box not because of the shoe, it's requiring a box because of the size. So, last pair is a pair of men's size 16 running shoes. And you might think, Ethan, you are crazy for picking up men's size 16. I know. They're bigger than my head. You can't see me anymore. But they sold for $50 after no days of listing. They sold the same day that I listed them. So I listed them on Saturday afternoon, and they sold Friday afternoon, so maybe it wasn't even a full day. But men's size 16 is something that I wouldn't normally pick up, but those are the fresh foams. They're a newer model, and I knew that was going to sell. They also didn't even have insoles, and they still sold for $50. They're going to Pennsylvania. And that is it. I don't really know if I'm going to do my best. All of that underneath there too. 40, like almost close to 40 items from Saturday to Sunday. So I forgive you. Well, thanks, Dor. All right, that is it for today. Tomorrow we'll see. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go live. Probably not. And if I do, it'll be later in the afternoon. So maybe if we like an afternoon show, I might do an afternoon show. I say show, a live of doing a cleaning live. I think that's where we're going to land. Because I got to ship out early. Because I got to go sourcing tomorrow, which is exciting. But that's it for today, everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. I know that there was a core couple of you that were here for the whole time. So thank you for being here. If you guys are catching this on after the live, and if you guys are interested in Nifty or anything like that, I have a link to it in the description of this video and or in the title.